Hey hey you beautiful people! Since the art model batchat gave me headaches and a small stroke, it's time to go back to good old plastic. Bonus points for something cheap, small and easy to build. Luckily I bought this small Sherman M4A2 a few months ago, so let's give it a go. Of course the kit is fairly simplistic, but that's to be expected in 70-second scale. This does not mean that it has to stay that way. You see, the M4A2 does not have a cast hull, but some parts are still made with casting, so the turret and the gearbox housing front plate can be improved with some cast texture. Some Tamiya grey putty and extra thin cement is excellent for creating such a texture. The cement is used to thin the putty a bit. An oil brush is then used to stipple the goo on the turret. I'm doing this while the part is still on the sprue. It's easier to apply cast texture on small parts while they are not assembled. Just be careful to not block any parts that are created with rolled or otherwise made parts. Details on a 70-second scale kit are often simplified for obvious reasons, but it takes next to zero effort to improve parts such as grab handles and crane hooks on the turret, for example. The old ones aren't even hollowed out. Cutting them with side cutters is easy, and you will see how big the new hooks should be from the residual plastic that stays on the turret. I recommend you to use calipers to make locating holes for the drill bits and then just drill 2 holes on the top and bottom of the old part. I used a brass wire with 0.0mm diameter to create the new hooks. They can easily be bent on the drill bit's top part or some other small round object. I'm leaving them long for easier application and gluing. The long prongs provide more material to stick to CA glue. I'm using a gel-like glue for easier application here. It does not matter if it's looking crap, no one will see it inside the turret. If the drilled holes are still bigger than the hooks, you can mask them with the putty and cement mixture, and no one will ever notice the plastic surgery on the patient. Next up, even more drilling. These parts on the engine deck had drainage holes on them, which the kit tried to recreate, but the holes are too shallow. At least they can be used as locating holes, and the smallest drill bit was used to deepen them. Assembling the parts is pretty easy with this kit, even the smaller segments had great fit. The instructions told me that this was a snap fit kit, and you shouldn't listen to its bullshit because there's no way these small parts will stay in place without cement. Before we go any further on the build, I drilled out the exhaust pipes because even though almost no one will notice, it makes me feel good. And maybe they will be visible from some weird angle. The backplate of the lower hull was the only part that almost snapped off the extensions of the side piece, so some caution is advised while gluing it to the hull. The upper hull and middle piece went together beautifully and almost didn't need any glue. Some brute force is needed to snap the parts together, and it's a good idea to not apply any small parts on the upper hull for this reason until it's snapped together. The running gear went together like a dream, and the whole thing is aligned without any additional care. I'm actually amazed by this. Remember, the kit costs about €8. The tracks will stay off until after painting, I just hope I can attach them afterwards. If not, this will become a disabled tank. Improvise, adapt, overcome. The middle part of the hull is also missing some holes. These were used to attach fenders, and since this kit does not have those, I drilled out the holes after I marked their place with a Sharpie. There's also some panel lines missing, so I quickly add them with a scribing tool. The main gun's barrel also needed drilling. It's always disappointing if the gun barrel is useless. But hey, it takes no time to drill it out and make it look good. Alternatively, you can buy a metal barrel, but is it worth it for such a cheap kit? Attaching the barrel assembly with the turret was easy, but somehow I glued it together really well so it just has one fixed position. Not that I intended to move it around too much. Another small but easy to create detail is the radio antenna. The one provided in the kit is a bit out of scale, so brass wire it is. After cutting the old one from the base, a hole can be drilled for a new one. This is important since I want it to be stable. I cut a 0.3mm wire, stuck it in some CA glue and then pushed it into the freshly drilled hole. This does look so much better in my opinion. And there it is, a cheap and simple kit upgraded with simpler tracks and materials. I just hope I can attach the tracks in a decent way, but that's a problem for future me. If you like this video, write to us and look up our other stuff on the shown outlets. Thanks for watching and keep us in your sights.